Gonna start this review with a massive thanks to 24/8 Series and Creventic for getting an extra camera angle and new graphics for 2020, which made making this video lots easier. Also thanks to everyone who watched the preview, and don't forget to stick around for more stuff like this. Don't want to dwell on qualifying too much in a 24-hour race, but when I saw that WRT had taken pole, I didn't realise that they'd be running a Mercedes. I also managed to not mention the parkour in TCR either, but moving past my near complete ineptitude, Dubai featured weather threats for the first time in recent memory this year. Rain threatened in night practice and a fair amount fell overnight, but it was all dry for the start. Despite some slightly questionable TV work, Sven Muller was able to get the jump on the pole sitter pretty early and take the lead around lap 1. Mostly clean start, little bit of chaos in TCR, but after merely 3 laps the battle turned to traffic management. As Maxi Buick demonstrated how traffic can be used to your advantage, the GPX Racing Porsche demonstrated how dangerous this type of racing really is. Can't tell exactly what happens from these photos, but safe to say it looked pretty bad. This brought out the first Code 60, but the cars were almost full of fuel, so many decided the pit stop wasn't worth it. Chaos reigned on the race stop, but things eventually settled down, however not for Dennis Lind, who is known for his opening stint prowess and was slowly making progress from 13th on the grid all the way up to 3rd after an hour. Barwell were also doing strategy really well. They pitted Lind on the hour mark so that he could stay in and split his 2-hour drive time in half, which saved time on the pit stop as they didn't change driver, and this put them in the lead. Herberth, in contrast, pitted 15 minutes later but did a driver change and came out around 15 seconds behind. Ralph Bone showed a lack of pace in his stint, understandable given that he's the AM driver for Herberth, but he still gave up way too much time for that car to be a race winner. The Code 60 that came on 2 hours could have been perfect for Barwell, but they'd already passed the pits when it came out, so they missed the chance initially, and they had to make 2 separate trips to change tyres, driver and refuel. One of the big winners from the round of stops was Car Collection, who would skip their tyre stop and just take fuel, before coming in a second time to do the second half of their fuel fill, putting them in very good shape. MS7 by WRT also managed their full stop, and this got them up to 4th. When the race went back to green, darkness was quickly falling with not even 3 hours in the books. Away from the cameras, Indy Doncher had been motoring and was pretty much on the back of Barwell as he pitted. The leaders followed them 6 minutes later, and this gave Car Collection the lead. Other leading cars trickled in afterwards, but we'd never get to see how close the HTP Mercedes got to lead in the race, as it lost its front left wheel 8 laps into its stint. When another Code 60 was rolled out seconds later, only a few cars were yet to make their stops. This was perfect, as it was right on schedule for both WRT Audis and Black Falcon. Pretty much everyone else was unmoved, which was just as well because the cars were literally queuing for fuel like Tesco's on a Saturday morning. The race was static from then on until 20 hours to go, where an MS7 pit stop was followed quickly by a possibly rain-induced crash between 2 GT3 cars. The timing was great for everyone apart from MS7, who dropped all the way down to 5th. The end of the Code 60 brought a new challenge to the race in the form of rain. Car Collection and Herberth used their stop to fuel the car as well, whereas Barwell didn't and Black Falcon didn't stop at all, which meant they had a spin and lost 3 places. However, their strategy turned out to be genius, as the wet tyre runners started to search for dry patches 15 minutes later and then eventually made another stop back to dries, putting Black Falcon in the lead by nearly a lap. Barwell were given a 4-minute penalty for this horrific pit lane incident, and so they were 2 laps back with the Herberth Porsche not far behind them. The mere whiff of a Code 60 tempted Car Collection and Black Falcon to cut short their stints and put on wets again, which was great for them as they avoided the madness in the pits when the rain really started to come down. WRT and Barwell seemed to miss out initially, but only the latter missed out on fuel after a rather long stop. As the rain became slightly biblical 6 hours in, Barwell were hit with yet more bad luck, stopping 10 minutes before a Code 60 that all their rivals took advantage of. This left Black Falcon in the lead by just 9 seconds to MS7, but the Audi team's unfortunate decision to have their AM driver in dropped them way back. They even lost second initially, but a slightly dodgy piece of contact with Car Collection meant that they were clinging on to second, about a minute down on the lead. Then, well, things went wrong. Due to the lack of drainage and relentless rain, the organisers were forced to red flag the race, which was fine given the conditions. What was slightly less fine was the lack of Twitter activity and late announcements that were promised, only for it to be delayed again. You can't really blame them though, the circuit was basically underwater. The race was eventually cancelled, leaving Black Falcon to take the least impressive of their 5 wins here in Dubai. A very disappointing edition of the Dubai 24 Hours this year, but after all nobody can control the weather, and this weekend just seemed to be unlucky with the amount of rain they received. Let's hope for better next year and for the rest of 2020. Thanks very much for watching this race analysis. I hope you will join me again. Until then, goodbye.